Good morning friends. Today we'll see about the structure and function of a cell presented by Dr.P.VIDYA, Assistant Professor, Department of Nutrition and Dietetics from Malala College for Women, Erode. Let's start with the chemical level. The atoms bond to form a molecules with three-dimensional structures, and the molecules together combine to form a fluid and organelles of a body cell. And a community of similar cells form a body tissues, and two or more different tissues combine to form an organ, and two or more organs work closely together to perform the function of a body system, and many organ systems work harmoniously together to perform the function of an independent organism. Thus, from a cell, the whole body is formed and the system works together. This slide shows the comparison of an eukaryotic cell and a prokaryotic cell. Just compare the structure of the cell and the parts of the cell. See, the nucleus is present in the center. Here more flagella is present. Let's see the difference between the eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell. The prokaryotic cell size will be typically 0.2 to 2 micromillimeter in diameter, and for an eukaryotic cell it will be typically 10 to 100 micrometer in diameter. Examples are bacteria and archaea, and for eukaryotic cell, the animal cells and plant cells belong to it. Nucleus is usually absent in the prokaryotic cell and it is present in our eukaryotic cells, and the membrane enclosed organelles are absent in prokaryotic cell, whereas it is present. Examples include lysosome, Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria and chloroplast. Flagella will consist of two protein building blocks in prokaryotic cell, where it is in eukaryotic cell it is complex and consists of multiple microtubules. Cell wall usually present and chemically complex because that protects the prokaryotic cell, and cell wall is present only in plant cells and in fungi that are usually chemically simpler. The plasma membrane with steroid is absent in the prokaryotic cell, which is present in the eukaryotic cell. The cytoplasm, there is no cytoskeleton or cytoplasmic streaming, whereas in eukaryotic cell there will be cytoskeletons and the cytoplasmic streaming. Ribosomes are smaller in prokaryotic cell and it is larger in the eukaryotic cell. Cell division happens by binary fission in prokaryotic and by mitosis in eukaryotic. Number of chromosomes will be only one. They are also not true. There will be more number of chromosomes. 23 pairs of chromosomes will be present in the eukaryotic cell. Sexual reproduction happens not by meiosis, just the transfer of DNA fragments happens by conjugation. Here it involves meiosis process. This slide shows the comparison of a plant cell and the animal cell. There will be not the major difference. The chloroplast is present in your plant cell, which is absent in the animal cell. This slide shows the difference between a plant cell and animal cell. Plant cells are usually larger than the animal cell, which is smaller. The animal cells are smaller. The cell wall is present in addition to the plasma membrane and consists of middle lamella, primary and secondary wall. The cell wall is absent in the animal cell. Plasma, desmata, chloroplast and tonoplast are present in the plant cell, which is all absent in the animal cell. Vacuoles will be large and permanent for the plant cell. Vacuoles will be small and temporary. The centrioles are absent except motile cells of the lower plant. Centrioles are present in the animal cell. Nucleus is present along the periphery of the cell, whereas in the animal cell it is present at the center of the cell. Lysosomes are rare and lysosomes are present in the animal cell. The storage material of a plant cell is starch grains, and the storage material is here glycogen granules. So let's see the functions of a cell. What does the cells function inside our body? It is a basic unit of life and is the smallest part to which an organism can be reduced that still retain the characteristics of a life. Cells produce and secrete various molecules that protect and support our whole body system. All the movements of the body occur because of the molecules located within the specific cells, such as muscle cells. And cells produce and receive chemical and electrical signals so that communicates between each other. The chemical reaction that occur within the cells are referred to as collectively as cell metabolism, where the energy is released. Each cell contains a copy of a genetic information of the individual. The specialized cells are responsible for transmitting that genetic information to the next generation. These are all the basic functions of a cell, and based on the cell type, each cell functions a different function. Here comes the structure of a cell and parts of a cell. Let's start with the nucleus. In the center, you have a nucleus which is bounded by a membrane. You also have rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, and you have intermediate filament, mitochondria, plasma membrane, microtubules, centrosome, microfilament, lysosomes, secretory vesicles, perioxens, vacuole, cytoplasm, Golgi vessel, Golgi apparatus, and chromatin. This is the parts of a cell. Let's see one by one and their structure and the function. First comes your cell membrane. The cell membrane consists primarily of a phospholipid bilayer. Each molecule has an hydrophilic, that is water loving, polar end, that is head pointing outward, and the second one is a hydrophobic, which is a water fearing fatty acid tail pointing the inward. And the proteins and cholesterol are embedded attached with the carbohydrates. Typically they'll be around 7 to 9 nanometers thick. It acts as a flexible and selectively permeable barrier between the inside and outside of it. So this is the outer layer of your cell. What is the function? They may maintain the transport across the cell membrane, protects the cell from dehydration, possess receptor for drugs, possess hormone receptors, helps in action potential or nerve impulse conduction, allow only some substance to enter cell, hence protects cell from the damage. What comes in and what goes out is decided by your cell membrane. Next comes your mitochondria, the powerhouse of a cell. These are tiny parts inside cells that make energy. They have four main parts: an outer membrane, an inner membrane, an intermediate intermembrane space, and a matrix. This is how it looks like a sausage. What is the function of these mitochondria? ATP production, regulation of cellular metabolism, heat production, calcium storage, programmed cell death, and steroid synthesis. Through oxidative phosphorylation, mitochondria converts oxygen into nutrients and then into ATP. Mitochondria are involved in the regulation of metabolic activity of the cell. In the brown adipose tissue, mitochondria are involved in the heat production, and mitochondria can store and release calcium ions, which play a significant role in intracellular signaling. Also release cytochrome C in response to the apoptotic stimuli, that is cell death. And in certain type of cell, mitochondria are involved in the synthesis of steroids, including the production. Next is your ribosome. Ribosomes are tiny non-membrane bound cell missions made of ribosomal RNA, that is rRNA, and protein. They consist of two unequal parts called the small subunit and large subunit. Both subunit lock around messenger RNA to build the protein. So what is the function of ribosome? Ribosome are cellular structure responsible for protein synthesis of a cell. They act as molecular missions that translate the genetic code carried by the mRNA into one specific sequence of amino acid that forms the protein. These proteins are essential for virtually all cellular process and function. They help in the protein synthesis. Then comes your endoplasmic reticulum. It is an irregular network of double membrane tube-like structure distributed over the entire cytoplasm in a cell, completely dispresent. It is continuous with the cell or plasma membrane on the outside and nuclear membrane of the inside. At its outer end, or endoplasmic reticulum connects itself with the cell membrane, and at the inner end, it is connected with the nuclear membrane. It is of two types, rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It appears rough when the particles like ribosomes are attached to it, and appears smooth without them. So what is the function? Its main function is to form the supporting framework of the cell. It also serves as a pathway for the distribution of material, that is proteins and fat, from one part of the cell to the other. Due to the presence of ribosome, proteins and lipids are synthesized on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which helps in regenerating cell membrane. This process is known as membrane biogenesis. So endoplasmic reticulum helps in the transport of your fat and protein. Then comes the cytoplasm. It consists of all the parts together inside the plasma membrane, excluding the nucleus. So all the organelles look embedded in your cytoplasm. It is a jelly-like, colorless partly transparent semi-liquid structure that contain a mixture of water and soluble inorganic and organic compounds and various organisms, always in a state of a motion. The function is it's a living part of a cell, and all the life function takes place in the cytoplasm. All metabolic activities occurs in it, provide medium for initial steps of respiration. Different organelles looks embedded in it to do the different function. The main part of a cell, the nucleus, it's the largest cell organelle covered with thin double-layered nuclear membrane. Nucleus is also surrounded by a membrane which is called the nuclear membrane, mostly spherical, dense, and contains jelly-like fluid called nucleoplasm. This also contains a network of thread-like structure called chromatin fiber which contain DNA and nucleolus. Nucleolus is a dense dark granular structure without a membrane. What is the function? It regulates the cell function, metabolic and chemical activities. If removed, the cell will die. Without nucleus, we cannot do any other function. So it contains chromosomes, that is bearers of genes that contain hereditary nature. Helps in the formation. Ribosomes plays a key role in cellular reproduction. The chromatin, it's a thread-like mass of DNA and protein. Chromatin becomes chromosome during your reproduction, contains the information for building protein, enzymes, chemical cellular structure. The chromatin DNA functions. So next is your Golgi apparatus. These are very small vesicles which occur in different shapes such as granules, filaments or rods. It consists of many small groups of hollow tubular structure with a membranous wall and is associated with some minute vesicles and vacuoles. These vesicles are arranged parallel in stacks called cisterns. The internal space of this vesicle is called the lumen. Function of the Golgi apparatus is concerned with the synthesis and secretion of enzymes and hormones in the cell. Golgi apparatus carries material synthesized by the endoplasmic reticulum to different parts of the cell. The material is stored and packaged in vesicles. It forms glycoproteins and complex sugar from simple sugar. It also forms acrosome of sperm only in animals and in human beings. Vacuole. The main function of vacuole varies according to the type of the cell in which they are present, having much greater prominence in the cells of your plants, fungi and certain protists than those of the animals and bacteria. Vacuoles isolate materials that might be harmful or threat to the cell. It will contain waste products and contain water in the plant cells, maintain the internal hydrostatic or trigger within the cell, maintain acidic internal pH, exports the unwanted substance from the cell, allows plants to support structures such as leaves and flowers due to the pressure of the central vacuum. Cytoskeleton, and this establishes the cell shape, providing mechanical strength, locomotion, chromosome separation in mitosis and meiosis, intracellular transport of organelles. These include microtubules, microfilaments, centrosome, intermediate filaments and everything. All these together form the cytoskeleton of a cell that gives a base structure of a cell. And lysosomes and perioxens. Lysosome is a membrane-bound sacs performing a digestive function, contains enzymes to digest food, waste invading bacteria and breaks down old organelles. Present in animal cells only. Golgi apparatus produces lysosomes. In perioxens, these membrane-bound sacs performs again digestive function. Enzymes in perioxens are oxidases that catalyze redox reaction. Liver contains many perioxens to break down the alcohol formed by budding off from the endoplasmic reticulum, present only in the animal cells. Thank you. That's all about the structure and function of a cell.